Hi Jake, here is the feedback on your question 5 of the paper 2 mock exam that you've done recently. Having read the whole thing, I think you definitely have gone off track, as you're supposed to be explaining your point of view on the statement, homework has no value, some students get it done for them, some don't do it at all, students should be relaxing in their free time. I think apart from this first paragraph where you introduce your topic, you've gone way off track and gone off on your own agenda. However, I will mark it as if this had been a question just to see how you would have got on. First of all, we need a heading because it's an article, so you would have could have used a rhetorical question or an exclamatory or alliteration or something like that to give you a good heading. However, you started off with a strong statement and using studies suggest, so that's a good linguistic device that you've applied there. And then you've gone on to use a rhetorical question. And then here we talk about Norway, we've got a 3 or a triplet. Children are schooled for less hours, wear their own style of clothes and call teachers by their first name. And another rhetorical question topped with a short sentence for dramatic effect. So you've got about 4 linguistic devices in that second paragraph already. Again, we've got another rhetorical question here, list of powerful words, another rhetorical question. We've got some emotive language, passion to inspire. Then we've got your own personal anecdote, where you've related what happened to you at school with some emotive language again. And then this next paragraph starts with a rhetorical question again. Emotive language, talking about the lying politicians and double standards. Negative way, rhetorical question. So this here, could this be the reason why there's so many junkies and thugs, should be a rhetorical question as well. So you actually need a question mark there. And we've got emotive language here. Perhaps this is why drug dealers have longer jail sentences than child abusers, as drugs are untaxed. And you end it with a strong rhetorical question. Besides, is selling marijuana really more immoral than harming children for life? So you've used a lot of linguistic devices in there. So if we look at the mark scheme for the content and organisation, it says register is generally matched to audience. You know that it's an article in a newspaper, generally matched to purpose, the fact that you're trying to persuade somebody to your point of view. Vocabulary clearly chosen for effect and appropriate use of linguistic devices. Oh, good. Usually effective use of structural features. If you'd have used a heading, that would have really got you those marks. Writing is engaging with a range of connected ideas. Yep. Usually coherent paragraphs with a range of discourse markers. Now, you've not used, strictly speaking, discourse markers. However, the words that you've used to start your paragraphs off do link each paragraph to the one before. So that's not a problem. So had you actually written about the topic you were supposed to be writing about, I would say you'd have scored about 14 out of the possible 24 marks for this question, which would have been a good score. If we look at the mark scheme for the technical side of your writing, sentence demarcation is mostly secure and sometimes accurate, and some control of a range of punctuation. Most of your punctuation is okay, there's just a lack of commas in some places, which is usually the opposite of what I'm saying to people, and some places where you could have used a semicolon. For example, I think we could have had a semicolon here after yes, headmaster. And a comma here, separating with this being the case, comma a lot of teachers. I would have put a semicolon here, I think, and made this part of that sentence because it doesn't seem right standing on its own there. Comma here, the schools the schools, comma, just like every authoritarian system in history, comma, because you could take that out and it still makes sense. And then down here we have an example of England with the lowercase e, although you have used the uppercase here. And we've already mentioned the rhetorical question without a question mark. Use of apostrophes seems to be fine. It uses a variety of sentence forms for effect. Yes, you do. I mean, you're using complex and compound sentences and definitely some shorter sentences in there for dramatic effect. Mostly uses standard English appropriately with mostly controlled grammatical structures. Again, on the whole, your grammar's pretty good. No real issues with your grammar there. And generally accurate spelling, including complex and irregular words. Just the odd one. As a student with ADHD here, tendencies should be an E, not an A. And there's wrong use of there. It should be I hope they are. So they apostrophe RE. As you perhaps need to revise your use of there. Well, I think that's it. Apart from that, your spelling on the whole is pretty good. And you do seem to use an increasingly sophisticated use of vocabulary. So all in all, I think it's 11 out of the possible 16 marks for your technical aspect of your writing there. So well done. So that gives you a total of 24 out of the 40 marks for this question, which, had you answered the question correctly, if this was the right question, would have been a really good score for this stage. Would be definitely a C grade, I would have thought. So just make sure that you're answering the question that you asked to write about, and you should be on track to get a good grade for your GCSE. So well done.